This is Jonah, and I'm recording this after we've recorded this podcast. And I'd just like to say that we have a Twitter now, just at nothingexperts. Very simple. And I'm going to also upload these podcasts to SoundCloud. So, whichever way you listen, there you go. Enjoy the podcast. This episode of the Nothing Expert Podcast is brought to you by Chumbly Wumblies, the taste you can taste.
That was a good advertisement.
Yeah. I'm here today with Brett Johnson.
Thank you for having me.
Brett is a old friend. You'll hear my dog, her nails scratching the ground. So right now we're just going to kind of talk about him, introduce him, get you knowing this beautiful face, and we'll just do some small talk. And then after that, we're going to record a whole episode about Stranger Things Season 2, but that will be out after for anyone who, for some reason, cares. I shouldn't be so negative about that. You got to act positive. People are going to listen to this. You got to act like we're professional.
That's right.
That's right.
You got to act like we're doing something with a purpose.
So, the first thing I wanted to bring up is I have the microphone sitting on a chair in my bedroom. This chair was bought from the restaurant chain El Chico's, if you've ever heard of it. It's a Mexican restaurant, sit-down Mexican restaurant. We had one in my town. It closed down, and you might think, well, why would you want a chair from there? Well, here's the story, Brett, who was asking earlier.
Mm-hmm.
El Chico's is a pivotal part of my family. The day I was born, my dad went and ate there as soon as I was born. And like every holiday, every birthday, that's where we went.
I didn't know your dad ate there.
My dad,
born.
when I was born, my dad went to El Chico's and probably got some fajitas and sweat. He sweats so profusely when he eats Mexican food.
I've never seen your dad eat Mexican food, but that's a good one.
And so because of that, it was just very important to us. So when they decided to close down, they decided they were not just closing down, they were just demolishing that whole building to build what is going to be a Five Guys, which, oh my gosh.
Yeah, that rocks. That's a good
That's
trade.
amazing.
It's a good trade.
Yeah. And so since they were just demolishing everything, they just sold anything that was in the building. You just come in and buy it. So because of how much it meant to my family, my grandma went in and bought a few chairs and a table, I think. And we did a similar thing to this restaurant. It's called Luke's. Me and Brett know of it. It's a local place. They announced they were retiring and going to be closing, but that was like a year or two ago. They're still open.
Still open.
But I went in and asked for a menu. And I've been going there since... Let's just say I've been going there so long that I don't remember my first time there. I've just been going there since I was a baby.
Same. I don't remember a time where I wasn't going there.
Yeah. It's, to put it into perspective for those who don't know what it is, it's the after-church diner, right?
Yes,
it's full of old white people. And
eating good home cooking.
Home cooking. They, got the buffet with the biscuits and the chicken, the green beans.
All the gravy you could want.
All the gravy, salad bar. And it's very expensive. I remember growing up, it was like $40 for my whole family to eat.
It was, and I guess maybe it's because it's in a small town, and they aren't a chain, they're a mom and pop place, so in order to, I guess, get the money they need to survive, you do have to pay a little more, but, I get it.
And there's no competition besides gas station food.
Right. By the way, Jonah and I come from places, we grew up in places where gas stations were restaurants.
Yes.
So that's Luke's, an actual sit-down restaurant where you don't have to pay at the pump. It was pretty nice.
It's true. And what's so funny is that growing up, I don't think I realized that gas stations weren't typically restaurants, and that you looked at gas station food like you only got that if you were like starving
in the middle of a road trip with nothing around.
You're like, oh, I want to get there fast. Let's just swallow our pride and eat a pizza pocket, a pizza puff from a gas station.
And you know what's crazy? I actually looked up what a pizza puff is, and like, there's a national pizza puff distributor. Their name is Del Taco. And that sounds like something that came from The Simpsons, but it's real.
It sounds like a video game. It's a Mexican restaurant or something.
Jonah and I lived in a place where a gas station or a grocery store was the only place you could get food.
Yes.
So when we moved to Paducah, Paducah's by no means a metropolis or anything, but it's definitely got it's actually civilization compared to where we used to live. And we've been here a few years, and after eating at other restaurants, just being able to have access to like McDonald's or whatever I want whenever, I never realized how hard I had it growing up.
Yeah, absolutely. I didn't realize that it's not normal to drive 30 minutes to get to McDonald's.
Exactly.
For me, it was. For you, it was probably 20, 15.
Yeah, 20, either Mayfield or, if I went to Mayfield, 30, Fulton, 20.
Yeah, but for me, it was a good 30 to get to Fulton, which was the closest McDonald's and Walmart. What we famously refer to our town as is a one-stoplight town, is quite literal. It really is. There is one stoplight. As of this recording in 2017, and it's been that way since 1993, since I was alive.
Yeah.
So
and the thing is, it probably doesn't even need that stoplight.
It doesn't really. It could be a stop sign.
Four-way stop.
It could just be a four-way stop. They're like, guys, they're gonna demolish the city and take away our citizenship if we don't have a stoplight. So
there's a big wreck at the stop four-way stop.
Yeah, like two horses collided.
There's turnips all over the
road. Oh man! But one thing I love about our hometown was that if anything happened at all, it was in the paper. Like if there was if a church was getting a new bathroom, that would be talked about for weeks until it was done. It would get talked about. Any updates, it would be in the paper. Which is kind of funny. I kind of like that though. There was a charm to it. There was parts of that I like, and
definitely. Even though the whole town felt like it was a big family kind of, because there was only like 1,000 people who lived there. And even the people you didn't know very well, I mean, everyone just seemed like your cousin. You
at least recognized like 90% of the people you saw.
Oh, exactly. And now I come to Paducah, and like I said, Paducah's no big place by a long shot. And 95% of the people I see every day are new people.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know anyone.
A big reason for that is where we live, the city, there's a bridge right connected to us that is to Illinois. And the closest city in there would be Metropolis, Illinois, right? Mm-hmm. Which is where Superman is famously from, right? That's
right. Yes. In fact, they have the Superman Festival. Anyone who's listening by chance who's a Marvel fan or Superman fan, Superman's Marvel, right?
DC.
So sorry. Apologies.
You just triggered everyone in the world.
Wow.
It's okay.
Superman, DC. Metropolis is a town across the Ohio River from here. And they have a population of about 3,000 people, and they make most of their revenue off gambling. They are world famous. People come in from all over the world for a one weekend celebration at Metropolis, Illinois, home of the Superman.
So if you're a big diehard fan and you're also a criminal looking to escape and form a new identity, there you go.
Right. Wanting to bet the house on the ponies, You can do it all in Metropolis.
No better place. So, but to bring me back to my point, a lot of people come from over there. I worked at Toys R Us here in Paducah for 2 years, and I think I was probably the only person besides my boss who actually lived in Paducah. I don't know if I ever told you about that, Brett, but almost every person I worked with was from Metropolis, and we'd often look up people's reward card. And you guys know how retail is. Do you have a rewards card with us? Well, you can look up my phone number. So I go to look up their phone number, and honestly, 50% of the time, if not more, there was an area code from Illinois. So we get it. That's one reason we see so many new faces all the time, is because we get a lot of people from there. And also where we're at is...
It's like the hub for Western Kentucky.
Yeah.
Like it's the biggest city. We come from the place where there's a bump in the road has a town, like Crowley, Fulgham, Beulah, Clinton.
Yes. There's 1,000 different little towns, and it's like you go a mile and you're in a different one. And that's another thing, too, is because of where we live, like you said, we're the hub of Western Kentucky. We live now in a city 45 to 50 minutes away from our hometown.
Where we used to live, yes.
And I still see, when I worked at Toys R Us, I constantly, almost daily, saw people from my hometown there, and that's just what we did. Mm-hmm. About once a week or so, not everyone did this, of course, but
right.
a lot of people would, come to Paducah.
It was an event.
You on the weekend, you get the whole family, go to the Paducah, maybe go see a movie, stop by the mall,
Go to your favorite restaurant.
go eat out somewhere nice, go by the nice Walmart.
The nice
Walmart.
And get a few things you couldn't get in Fulton.
Yeah, in the 30-minute away Walmart. Let's go to the 45-minute away
That's
Walmart.
right.
And that was really was what it was like. But the amazing thing about that is that never seemed like a chore or like a problem.
Right. It like I said, it was always almost like a weekly what's a pilgrimage.
Yeah. And I don't know. And there was parts of that I'm glad to have had that experience because it made me build up an immunity to long road trips or long trips. You know,
Right.
if I have to go 45 minutes for something, that just feels like no time at all.
I talk to people who've lived in Paducah their whole life, and they cannot believe I drove more than 10 minutes to do anything.
Yeah. Well, I mean, when I started going to college, I drove up here. I drove 45 minutes.
Same.
Yeah. And it, I mean, that did bother me when I'd have to wake up that extra 45 minutes. That was annoying, but other than that, I didn't mind it really. And I don't know. I when I lived in Denver for a while, I'd go to a concert and I'd drive 5 minutes.
Exactly. You drive right down the street.
Yeah. When I saw Taking Back Sunday there, it was on the road, like right next to where I lived. Like it was just there. It was nothing. And while that's convenient, we were going to concerts all the time for a period, and I grew to love this road trip thing where we would all just, we plan playlists ahead of time and put music on, just jam out and
have our friends all goofing off in the car together.
Yeah, it was great. And so part of me missed that. And one thing that would make me so mad was I would see, I'd be going to a concert. This was back when I first started going to concerts. I don't care about this anymore, but I would see on Twitter people tweeting at the band I was seeing, drove 30 minutes to see them tonight. So worth it. Like 30 minutes? Okay. I drove 19 hours to see Brand New in New Jersey.
Well, here's another thing. That's ridiculous.
I would never do that again.
But here's the other thing. People who say they drove 30 minutes to see their favorite band, in the town we used to live at, Nashville and St. Louis are both about 2 hours away. One's north, one is south. All we have to do is go down the street, get on the interstate, and it's 2 hours straight shot to either place.
Yes.
Pretty convenient. We used to live in Clinton. You had to go 45 minutes north just to go back down south to Nashville.
Yes. Yeah.
You had to go in the opposite cardinal direction.
Yes. And that was the closest place to see concerts. That's what we did for almost every concert. Like, if a concert was in Nashville, we thanked our lucky stars.
Exactly.
Like, oh, thank God I don't have to go back to Chicago. An 8-hour drive.
That's right. We can get to this place and back before like 4 in the morning.
We don't have to get a hotel.
Right.
But yeah, almost every night we're getting back when it's like 1, 2, 3 a.m. depending on the concert. And I mean, I went to Nashville just a few days ago to see this girl named Hazel English. It was a free show, and she played at Grimey's, that record store.
Oh, that's awesome.
A free show, and she signed my record and everything, and it was great. And it was unexpected. She was just on tour and just happened to be staying in the town that night, I guess. She didn't have a show schedule, so she just did it. Free show. It was awesome. But I drove 2-something hours for that, and that felt fine. I had I didn't feel like, oh my God, what a drag, I have to drive 2 hours. But I'm sure there was someone there who had Ubered or Lyfted
from the other side of town.
And they were just they were probably, I didn't hear this. This is just conjecture, but they probably were complaining to their friends. Oh my God, the hipster level at that night.
Was it unbelievable?
Through the roof.
Was it like plain white Tumblr?
I'm
crazy?
talking South Park satire levels of hipsterism.
So these are it's almost ironic.
It's almost like it was hilarious. I was almost wanting to compliment them on their comedic skill.
It was like the cast of Portlandia.
Yes, exactly. Like the guy who worked there. And here's the thing: if by some random chance anyone there is listening, all the staff was super nice. They giving out free beer. It's great, and I love that store. So please don't hate me. I'm just, but the guy who was working there was giving out the free beer, and he had the whole hipster glasses, the haircut, the shirt, and everything. They're giving out free locally
microbrewed draft beer.
Yes, and again, it was free. So I mean, hey, you were doing something nice. I'm not trying to knock you guys for that, or
And
those guys. So.
Speaking of hipster culture, we're in the holler of Kentucky, and hipster culture is taking over Paducah.
It certainly is. There's a big. It's spreading from the downtown arts district.
It is
certainly.
it's coming through the town, and we're getting more like younger people oriented events, restaurants like Mellow Mushroom and Dry Ground. That's a hipster like headquarters.
Yeah, HQ. I have not yet been to Mellow Mushroom.
It's expensive, but it's best pizza I've had in Paducah.
Really, I heard it had like gone downhill lately. Have you heard that?
No.
Okay, well, again, I haven't been, so this is just my grandma said this. So
wow.
there might have been a fly in the restaurant, and
they've let themselves go.
Yeah, that's how I love her. But I don't know, I don't know. I haven't been. I have eaten their pizza, but it was not in this city. It was
the atmosphere is really cool. It's it looks like a restaurant that came out of like downtown Nashville. It's much more. I like if things like this are going to keep coming to Paducah. I like the direction. Our town is growing a lot, and I like it.
I remember when I was a kid seeing it, like where you work, the Domino's you work at. I remember when all those buildings weren't there.
Yeah.
You had to come a lot deeper into town before you saw buildings.
Right.
Like that whole road you come in on, like none of that was there. That fitness center with the subway,
Energy Fitness, and all those houses. Yeah.
None of that was there, and I remember. When they first started building the plaza that your store is at, I remember thinking like, oh man, Paducah's getting bigger. This is really great. I'm really happy. I remember that day thinking I could maybe live here one day if this keeps happening. I sincerely remember thinking that. And that was probably like a decade ago. Honestly, that might be a decade ago.
That store's been there 9 years, so it's been about a decade ago.
Wow, that's funny that
and Paducah is putting up new buildings like every day.
Constantly.
There are 2 optometrists in my backyard.
You know that Academy Sports store?
Yeah.
I was driving into town one day, and Donnie starts flipping out. Because it was completely built. It's a huge store. It's like as big as
a super center Walmart size store.
But it's just sports.
It's just sports.
So, but it's huge. And I remember we were coming into town, and I knew it was being built, but I hadn't seen. Last time I'd seen it, it was just beams. It wasn't
right. It was just the exoskeleton.
Yes, but Donnie had no idea it was even going to be a thing. So he is like, and you know how Donnie,
his reactions, yeah.
He was like mad. He was like cussing and yelling because he was surprised. He's so shocked.
How can people put a building up like that?
Just without me knowing.
That's right. And to give Donnie credit, they announced Academy Sports was being opened like 8 months ago, and it's been open 4 months. They erected that entire building in 4 months.
They did. Yeah, they need to get an award. I swear they did. They did a good job. They need to take those people and put them in charge of like road construction.
Exactly.
So things would actually get done.
I know.
That's probably the most adult joke I've ever made in my life.
It was.
Yeah.
Yes.
You could tell that one at a a PG little family gathering. Save that one for Thanksgiving. We'll drop it.
That's right. By the way, we're going back to the homeland for Thanksgiving, everyone.
Yeah.
So
Brett's marrying into my family, which is pretty awesome. So.
Jonah is one of my groomsmen, so
yeah,
he'll be in all of the festivities.
I sure will. He's getting married at the church where I met him. So
exactly
cool.
Where it all began. It's a homecoming for everything.
Sure is. So I'm trying to think of more. We were talking a lot about our hometown, and I feel like this is pretty interesting. People probably like hearing about that. So we talked about the stoplight. Oh, we should talk about that gas station where we always ate at. It was called Jiffy Mart when we were growing up, but now it's called Jewel Mart.
And here's what happened. It was Jiffy Mart, and it's crazy because on one side of the town, the north side of the town, which is basically just like up there.
It's up a hill.
It's up a hill. That was the north side of the town. It was the metropolitan area where we had a Dollar General, a grocery store, also had a barbecue restaurant, and Jewel Mart was up the street by the grocery store in the highfalutin area. And Jewel Mart marched across the one stoplight and conquered Jiffy Mart.
Yes.
And then they just had a whole monopoly on all the gas and pizza puffs in town.
So gas was like super high.
Yes.
Everything was high in there. And but just recently we got a brand spanking new gas station there.
Gas station.
A chain gas station.
It is not like a family owned place. It is there are ACs. I looked it up because I was curious. There's like ACs in like Lexington, Louisville. They're like
I've seen a few, and it's really when I was in there for the first time, I didn't think I was in Clinton, which is the name of our hometown. If I haven't mentioned that, Clinton is where we're from, and I didn't feel like I was there.
I felt like I was just back in Paducah at a chain gas station.
The only thing that brought me back to reality was Booby was working there.
I was going to say,
Booby.
When he looked up at me, he calls me Mr. Johnson.
Really?
Even though I'm not my dad.
Obviously. Yeah, you're not your dad. Mr.
But he looks at me every time and says, Mr. Johnson. And his dreads just shaking under his AC's visor.
He's been up here a few times to see Donnie. Me and Brett really spent a ton of our time being friends, getting food from that gas station, Jewel Mart.
That is one of the... It's a very weird thing, but that's one of the things we lean our friendship on.
We certainly
Jewel Mart gas station food.
Chicken strips from Jewel Mart.
Chicken strip baskets with a roll.
Do you remember that time we went, and when I got back, I realized they hadn't given me my cheese sticks, and I threw my food across the kitchen or whatever?
You threw...
I think I just threw it straight up.
I had no idea what was the matter.
There was like a spider in my basket. No,
I thought he found a terrorist in his cupboard.
I was so mad because those cheese mozzarella sticks. No matter where you get them, no matter where you are, mozzarella sticks are expensive. Just seems to be a thing.
Yep. That string cheese.
They're delicious, but it's like, and I understand that, but it's like, if I got the same quantity of, or the same amount of mass that I'm eating of cheese sticks in potato form, like with potato wedges or French fries, it'd be like cents.
Right.
Cheese sticks, is like, if you go to a restaurant, it's like, oh, appetizer cheese sticks. It's like $7.99.
$7.99 for 6 finger-sized cheese sticks.
That everyone splits. It's like, wow, do I really want to spend like $1.25 on one cheese stick? No,
exactly, and I'm probably not going to get any marinara either.
Yeah.
And speaking of the old gas station, that marinara drove you wild for a while, didn't it?
Dude, it was my favorite sauce. I loved it. And what's so funny about that marinara is it is the most garbage quality.
Oh, it is.
Like, if you were some kind of food connoisseur, you would hate it because it's marinara that looks like barbecue sauce. It's like brown.
It's like, yeah, it's super, to me, it was like super strong tomato-y.
Yeah.
It was almost like a ketchup quality.
Well, that's probably why I love it so much.
Yeah.
If anyone knows anything about me, I'm a ketchup addict. I'm just a tomato addict. I hate tomato, but I love... Salsa is the only thing I eat with chips. I like cheese, but I don't even eat cheese with my chips.
Exactly.
How crazy is that?
I know, that's weird, because that's a combo made in heaven.
That's
so,
like, you go to a restaurant, you don't... I only love salsa. Salsa's my third favorite condiment. Second is marinara. First is ketchup. But anyway,
that's like the Italian, American, and Mexican
the Father,
ketchups.
Son, the Holy Spirit.
Yeah.
No, the Three Musketeers. I loved their cheese sticks, and I love their marinara. Now, if you like real homemade marinara, like where it's actually like tomato in it, I hate that. I can't stand that. Yeah. I'll eat it. I will, right. but I'm just used to this.
Has nothing on that Jewel Mart marinara.
Again, anyone else would be like, this isn't marinara. This is like ketchup and barbecue sauce mixed together.
I think it also expired.
Yeah, it's like cold and like there's. No, I would sometimes get. I knew it was old because like up at the top of the packet would be like the crust, not packet, but you know how you get honey mustard at a restaurant.
It's like in a dipping cup.
A dipping cup. At the top.
You got to peel that cellophane. Wrap off the top.
And there would be dried crusted marinara on the rim up at the top.
Yum.
Yeah. But, no, I was obsessed with their cheese sticks. And I got them one day with my chicken strip basket. And they didn't put them in my bag. And that was probably like, there it was cheaper than like your Applebee's. It was like probably like $2-3 for, I mean, it was only like 3 cheese sticks.
Right, yeah, but 3 was in order.
And,
what a joke.
What a joke. And, I don't know. And even the cheese stick quality, most people would probably not like, but I just loved it.
Especially after set under a heat lamp. A lot of the time I would go get those cheese sticks and they would be dehydrated.
Yeah. You need to give them a shower or something.
Yeah.
Give them a cup of coffee.
Wake them up.
Put a blanket around them. I swear.
Yeah, those cheese sticks just had been turned into like jerky.
I know, but I was addicted. And the chicken strip basket too. I remember They changed the chicken. Remember how it used to be when we were kids?
It used to be a lot better.
That was in that Luke's restaurant we were talking about served the same chicken. They got it, must have been from the same distributor, and it was the best chicken I'd ever had. Growing up, I would watch Star Trek, and they had this thing on there where the people, it was this sci-fi nonsense. They would just go to this computer, and just whatever they wanted would just materialize.
Oh,
and
it's
I would I would fantasize about that. I thought if I had that, I would just only live off of Luke's and or Jewel Mark chicken strips, and they both changed at the same time to that kind they have now. And I hated it at first. I got used to it, but it was like it was almost like a pancake texture. The breading
was the chicken strips. A lot of places are like crunchy, have texture to them. It's like a nice thick breaded
seasoning, little black specks
pepper in there. And these were like you said, it was almost like they got doused in pancake batter and put in a like waffle iron.
It was like the most like Caucasian chicken I'd ever eaten in my life.
Yes, it was the most dialed back chicken strip.
Like when you see memes about like, have you seen those where it's like about how white people
can't take spice.
Yeah, it certainly was the case with these chicken
That's what
strips.
made me laugh about your dad sweating eating fajitas.
Yeah.
Like he's so white.
Yeah.
One of my favorite memes was like, name something that's too spicy for white people, and someone just said flour.
Oh, man.
Like you use it to bake cake.
Man, I know. Let me see how long. We've been recording for 31 minutes. Why did we start this whole thing talking about El Chico's?
El Chico's. We started it about introductions, El Chico's, and it just exploded into a Clinton ghost tale story.
That was a little bit about our hometown. Brett, we're probably going to wind this one up. Do you have anything you want to say to the folks about yourself?
No, I'm not too clever, so
nothing you have to say.
At least I'm honest about it. But I love to record. I like doing these. Jonah's one of my longtime pals, and we have a lot of cool things I think that we can share our unwanted opinions about.
Right. So subscribe and do all that nonsense. Not that I don't make any money off this. I'm not doing it for that, so I don't care. If you don't subscribe, I don't care. I'm saying if you enjoy it, do it for you. I don't care.
Do it for you.
You don't gotta do it for me. I'm not one of those. I'm not gonna be begging for this stuff. Just if you enjoy it, and write in if you enjoyed it and you want to share an opinion. We'll read your comment and or letter.
That's right.
And talk about it and address you. So
we might also. I was thinking maybe we could put like a Nothing Experts Twitter up.
Yeah, I was definitely going to do that.
People could at us with questions. I know since who writes letters,
right?
So,
all right, we're done. Remember, this podcast is brought to you by Clippers, the haircut that cuts your hair,
clops your cloppers,
Clippies your clappers.
That's right.
All right, we're done here. Thank you for listening.
We forgot to do the Song of the Week segment at the end of this, so I'm just going to go ahead and recommend Ariel Pink's song, Feels Like Heaven. Before we recorded this podcast, I showed it to Brett, and he was losing his mind over how good the song was, and it's kind of the same reaction I had when I first heard it. It's an amazing song. I won't waste any more of your time, so check it out. Thank you.